Hello and welcome back to Spiritual Maintenance. This video is all about the Sacral Chakra. And so last time we did the root, so that's that bottom one. We're just going a step up this time. Okay, so the last week was noticing those emotions, that we have those emotions raging within us, and grounding those, just letting them go. This week is about noticing those emotions, and once you've grounded them, asking those emotions, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me about me? Not about, those around you. That'll come, later when we have that intuition chakra that we activate. But this one is, what are you trying to tell me about me? What are my fears? What are my, what excites me? Those kind of things. So the Erickson's personality development that goes along with this is early childhood, and that is of the will. That what do I want to do? And that is that autonomy versus shame and guilt. So that shame and guilt are those emotions that, tells us those false beliefs that keep us from being autonomous, being our true selves. So noticing that, balancing it, and working through it is what that's all about. It is also that place of creativity, of two ways of that. There is the hyper physically intimate side, and then there is the actual like physical development side of like building things, those kind of things. So if you're off balance, you notice that you're hyper, call it hyper intimate for YouTube's sake. The conversations always go that way, things you watch go that way, things you read, like that's your interest is kind of just stuck in that. And that's because with this particular power center, the motivational types is hedonism and self-direction. So hedonism is that pleasures and sensual gratification of oneself, and the goals are pleasure, enjoyment of food, intimacy, leisure, etc. For the self-direction, it's that independent thought, actions, choice, creating and exploring. And the goals for that is creativity, freedom, independence, curiosity, choosing one's own goals. And so when you are hyper fixated in intimacy, you're kind of not going anywhere in life because you do it and it's over. Versus those who get together, they have a conversation of like, oh, how cool would it be to build this? How cool would it be to paint this? And then when you come back to it, there's that self gratification of yourself of like, I did that, I built that, I painted that, um, I um, I developed that. Using your creativity for the good of all. Like people will come and enjoy that, and you'll know that you made a mark in history, and there's something to be proud of there. So if you find yourself hyper fixated on intimacy, just know that that's an imbalance of the sacral, and you just need to ground that energy and find, what do you like to do? What would you like to be a part of? And then find volunteer groups or workshops, whatever it is that is your niche, your niche. And if you can't really find one, well, then just keep trying a bunch of different ones until you feel that, yeah, this is me. And then that's how you know it's that. Okay, the self-cognition, those self-talk that go along with it. The negative ones are the I'm helpless and powerless, I'm trapped, I'm not in control, I can't handle it, I'm out of control. And the positive ones are, I have choices now. I am free. I am in control now. I can handle it. And I am in control of my reactions. So when you feel those emotions, taking control of yourself, grounding yourself, and then reacting in a way that is beneficial for everyone involved. Um, that is, that's healing, is what that is. Okay. So now, kind of going in the direction of the areas that are governed by the sacral. So the glands and organs that are affected is the pelvis, hips, lower vertebrae, the large intestines, the intimate organs, and the bladder. And again, I'm saying the intimate because I'm new to YouTube and I'm not really sure how, what I'm going to get dinged on, and I really don't want to get dinged. Okay. Physical problems is the chronic lower back pain, sciatica, slip disc, appendix, intimate and urinary problems, infections, prostate, those kind of things. And then the emotional and mental growth. Excuse me. Peace, harmony, and healthy ethics in relationships with others, and in the use of power, money, and intimacy and connection. So doing those all in a way that benefits everyone involved. Because when you do that, you get it back as well. So you really are benefiting yourself um, when you put others first. And essentially, going farther on down the line, we are mirrors of ourselves. So the person across from us is just mirroring ourselves. So treat them the way you would like someone to treat you, because that's the part of you that is kind of screaming out to you in that moment. One moment. Sorry, not sure what's going on here. Throat chakra, probably, but we'll get there eventually. Okay, so the last little bit of this is the element for this is water, which is those emotions, the sitting in the emotions of like, okay, what are you telling me? And really using that as a way to move forward towards your goals. That, what do I want to do? Ooh, I don't want to do that. Those kind of things. And of course, the color orange, the digestion, intestines, menstrual pains, those kind of things. Ooh, along the lines of menstruation, a good way to tell if you are in sync is if when you're menstruating, it's in the new moon, and when you're ovulating, it's during the full moon. And if you're not quite there, a good way to do it is when you're menstruating, focus on what do I need to let go, and just do that emotional piece during that time of the month. And then when you're ovulating, think, what do I want to create? And then that's when you focus on those paintings or those drawings, whatever it is. And men, you can do that on your own by just going with the moon cycles. And that is a good way to keep in sync and have that healthy balance of releasing, creating, releasing, creating. Okay? And then the instinct, of course, is that intimacy, but using that in a way of like, how do I show love? And is that going to be physical, or is that going to be in how I build or create something for others? The psychological aspects is that power, money, control, fear, fighting, passion, self-esteem. You kind of get the emotional abuse in those ones, and the inherited parental issues as well. So really noticing any of those, if those come up, and recognizing that that's um, the creation, because you are the creation of your parents. So whatever they were struggling with, a lot of times that gets put into our DNA. So recognizing that we have control of that by tuning in to what they couldn't, and then releasing it. And the cool thing with that is that when you face something and release it, you actually heal the generational um, the traumas, the cycles, because it has something to do with the blood. Forgive me, I don't know um, who did this experiment. Um, I had read it somewhere and in in passing, and so I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who did the experiment, but there was someone had done. They took blood from people, and then they had it in a, I think it was 40-mile away location, and then they, um, you know, stimulated the people to where they were angry, they were happy, they were whatever it was, and then they tested the blood and they went over to the 40-mile away place, or they had people there, I'm not sure exactly, but the blood matched. So like it the blood was affected even though it was in vials. It still had that vibrational reaction, which I found absolutely mind blowing. And that's where my brain was like, we are the blood of our parents, so maybe that is how that works. When we heal, they heal, and when they heal, we heal. So just know that if you are very upset and putting those boundaries up with your family, keep healing and know that there may be a time in the future that you all can come back together and have that self gratification that you did that. You healed for the good of everyone. Okay? All right. And of course, that's the adrenals. That's where that anxiety comes up and everything. And that's the negative expressions is fear and fighting. So when you feel that fear and fighting, go down to the root, ground it, and then face, what am I afraid of? You can even use my guided meditation of, if fear didn't exist, what would I do? This is a good time for that. I'm also going to do a guided meditation for this. Not sure what it's going to be. I'm going to let spirit lead me with this one, but that will be coming up soon. Um, so that's all I have for you today on this one. I hope that was enough. um, and if anything else comes up, I'll try to do more of those shorts now that I kind of figured it out. Okay, and we'll see you later. Bye.